That was my enforced 10-second smile so we get a good picture for Facebook. Fastest book, as people are calling it. Welcome. My name is Xander Gibb, and we are just getting ready to go live for today's edition of the Xander Gibb Show. I am just sharing, because sharing is caring, I'm just sharing the links. Feel free to do so yourself. Grab your snacks, grab a cup of tea, grab whatever you want to drink tonight. No alcohol because it's a school night and I'm prudish. Yeah, right. Grab whatever you want so you don't have to be disturbed during the show to go and get things. We are live for the Xander Gibb Show, and it has been a very long day today. But we're getting there, and you know why? Because we're winning. Don't listen to what the polls say, folks. Donald Trump is ahead. And darn it. You can't leave anything on Facebook for more than 5 minutes because it just takes it away. So you have to then go back to it to copy it again. But I think they're doing this to me. They're shadow banning me because I'm a handsome conservative gentleman who supports President Trump 45/46. Here we go. This is just what I need. We're just getting the links to share. Hello to everyone who is in the live feed. We will be with you in a near moment. Oh, yes, sirree. But don't forget about our drinking games. You know, it will be good if you have a cup of tea or whatever you drink at hand. Because when we say either oh, yes, sirree, or we talk about goat lives matter, because they do, you can take a swig or a sip or whatever takes you fancy, a big flagon worth of whatever it is that is your tipple, so we can play our drinking game. If you see me grimacing during the show, it's because look at this. I got an owie. I made myself some steak and eggs tonight, and the seal on the oven was kind of slipping down, so I pushed it back up, and in my brain, you know, rubber shouldn't be what's it called? It should not be hot is the word I'm looking for. Thank you. It should not be hot, but it was hot, and it burned my finger, so I got an owie. And there was no one here but me to kiss it better, so mwah, mwah, mwah. Kissing it better now. Yes, see, we got a good picture for Facebook. We are just sharing the links because sharing is caring. Here we go. We're nearly there. He says, screw you, Parler. Not very impressed with Parler. I don't know about you guys. It really is kind of the pits as far as I'm concerned. You have to be on it 24/7 to get any followers, and you know, I don't have the time to do that. Being a very busy conservative talk show host. Oh gosh, here we go. Lost the link. Gonna get the link again to be able to share. Here we go. We will get there. We will get there in time. I'm sure the news will be extended by just a few seconds if necessary. I will come, but I opened the live feed, hadn't I? That would be helpful. Go to. I'm your go-to guy for all things conservative. Just gonna share to a few places on. Hello, my Gina. You're an early bird tonight. Hello to everyone else that is. I'm sure they knew. Shut up, Xander. Everyone else that's watching. I'm just gonna share to some pages on Facebook, and then we'll jump right in. Oh, gotta turn off the noise, and we will turn off the fan once we go live. And we are just sharing, making sure not to share. You know the drill, guys. Can't share it. Can't share in any of the Prisoners of Cell Block H sites because they want to beat me up. Those people from down under saying, Xander, don't you bloody share your conservative show in our Prisoner Cell Block H groups, because it's not for that. But you can share anything that's related to Australia or prisoner or Australian prisoners. So I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. We're nearly there. Just gotta share in a few more places. No, I don't want to share it in a fly tipping group or anything to do with vegetarianism, because I ate steak today, so can't go to vegetarian groups if you eat steak. We are nearly there. Just 1 or 2 more to share. We are there, which is perfect timing. Hello to everyone in the live feed. I will come and say hello to you individually, but we're going to go to the opening titles in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It has been good to me this time around. Things were bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find no rifts. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and eras don't dictate.
Hello. Welcome to today's edition of the Xander Gibb Show, the talk show that really does get you talking on the Xandermanium Network, live from an undisclosed location, bringing you the best in Patriot broadcasting 5 nights a week for the moment. I'm Xander Gibb, and on tonight's edition, I get on my soapbox and give you the opportunity to get on yours too. In our phoning, I'll be breaking down and analyzing the real news and giving you the chance to comment on said editions, articles, things. In part 2, we break down today's hottest topics with, don't tell me I shared the wrong, with the teleprompter messed up, with political commentator Tony Lusacco. You can have your say in the live feed, and as usual, I'll be sharing your comments as we go. You can follow me on social media everywhere but Twitter right now, because they've suspended me for what I don't know, probably being a Trump supporter that breathes. You can also check me out at xandergibb.com. Everything is there. If you're watching on YouTube, click the bell button and subscribe to be able to get alerted when the show goes live. Let's say hello to everyone in the live feed. Let's go backwards. Hello to my Gina. Hello to Chet. Hello to Mike. Hello to Janie. Welcome. Hello to everyone that's in the live feed. Chet says total embarrassment with Nattyless Nadler. I couldn't agree more. We spoke about him on the show yesterday. And now it's time for Xander's news of the day. So a homeowner and 2 organizers of a party have been charged with violating the governor's executive order that limits the size of gatherings after police in New Jersey spent nearly 5 hours shutting down the event that drew more than 700 people Sunday night in an Airbnb rental. Authorities said around 8:30, Jackson police responded to a home on Mill Pond Road on a report of suspicious incident. Captain Steve, I can't even pronounce his name, Steve Leskiewicz said in a statement, a group having a large party causing a disturbance appeared to be in violation of the state's order that limits outdoor gatherings to 500 and indoor gatherings to 100. Maybe they should have had 500 in and 100 out. Hi to CV. Officers contacted the homeowner, Yakov Weiss, 40, of Jackson, who told the police that he'd rented out the residence. The homeowner said that about 200 people arrived at the home and the party was expanding. He left, according to the police, who estimate the gathering grew to more than 700 people with over 100 vehicles parked in the area. That really kind of tickled me today. I wonder if they were all wearing masks, and I wonder if it would have been worse if they were conservatives. And on to, well, how can I be nice? I'm just going to be nice. On to someone that used to be a favorite of mine, Whoopi Goldberg, who's actually shared her view that it's ridiculous to cut racist scenes from older movies. Now, the actress recently suggested that her movie Ghost may have been more veered with an all-white cast. Really? I don't think anybody could have played that role like Whoopi, but that's just me. When she was asked about Gone with the Wind, HBO said these racist depictions were wrong then and are wrong today, and we felt to keep this title up without an explanation and a denouncement of these depictions would be irresponsible. When we return to film HBO Max, it will return with a discussion on its historical content and a denouncement of those very depictions. You just want to say to people, listen, this is Whoopi, it is what it is, and teleprompter issue again. Whoopi said when asked about Gone with the Wind. So what do you think, guys? I mean, I don't usually agree with Whoopi, but she also said, you know what? It's not going to change. You can't cut the scene. It's ridiculous to try to, you say this is what it was. She also added there's a lot of stuff that has to explain why this was the prevailing attitude, but you have to give people context. And I think in a world where context is an art form now, because people don't really recognize the reason for it. If you know why it's happened that way, then you don't make it happen again. Whoopi, I applaud you for this. If you know why it happened that way, you don't make it happen again. We want everybody to calm down. You can't fix it all at one time. It's going to take a while. And the key, I think, for everyone to remember is whenever we talk about it, we have to talk about it as it was, as it is now, and as it will be. And I really applaud Whoopi Goldberg for this. It's kind of unusual for me to do that. And yeah, quite right, Chet. She sometimes has moments of clarity. Hello to Bobby. Welcome to the live feed. I think, yeah, I would have wanted to go to that rave too. So Emirates will offer free COVID-19 insurance to all of its passengers who travel by October 31st. The insurance covers medical expenses, quarantine costs, and repatriation if you miss your flight home. It also covers the cost of repatriating your body and your funeral if you die from the virus. Ouch. Now, the move comes from Emirates to try and boost passenger confidence and demand during the coronavirus pandemic. Emirates has gone for a new strategy for boosting passenger demand in the midst of the global virus known as Corona, and it's called their insurance. This is quite interesting. This is called coronavirus insurance. Very original. If one of its passengers is diagnosed with COVID during their journey, the Dubai-based airline will cover their expense up to 150,000 euros, which is about $176,000. It will also pay 100 euros, which is $118 per day for quarantine costs, such as hotel room for up to 2 weeks. And if the worst happens, Emirates will be offering $1,500, €1,500, which is about $1,765 for a passenger's funeral. The coverage is available for between now and October 31st, and it's valid for 31 days from the moment your first flight is taken, even if you travel on to another city. Emirates said testing costs are not covered. Passengers must contact to get expenses approved before spending them. I kind of think that's really funny. Hi, Maria. Welcome to the show. I kind of think that's really funny from the perspective, if you don't get the test, how can you know that you've got COVID, and how can you, and even if you get the test, it could be just that they're saying it to massage the figures. So what the point, how was the point paying for the insurance? Anyway. So speaking to reporters on the South Lawn, President Donald J. Trump on Monday said he does not plan to visit the U.S. Capitol over the next 2 days to pay his respects to Representative John Lewis, the Democratic, that was Freudian, the Democratic congressman from Georgia, a civil rights icon who died earlier this month. He said, "No, I won't be going." No, Trump said when asked if he was planning to attend the viewing of Lewis's casket. The president spoke to reporters as he departed the White House en route for North Carolina, where he's participating in a roundtable discussion on the coronavirus pandemic. He's also set to return to Washington at 6 o'clock ET. Former VP Sleepy Joe Biden, the presumptive Democratic nominee who served in Congress alongside Lewis and is a total racist and uses the word Negro far too often, is expected to visit the Capitol on Monday to pay his respects. Ass kisser. Vice President Mike Pence, who was in Miami on Monday, is also expected to pay his respect to Lewis on his return. I mean, it's always sad when anybody dies. Hi to Dave. Welcome to the live feed. But I always kind of ask myself the question, I didn't really respect them while I was alive. Why am I going to go and show my respects now they're dead? And people say, "Oh, you got to respect the dead." Well, not if they never respected me when they were alive. Chet says President Trump made the decision out of respect to Lewis's wishes. So there you go. But the press still pull it apart. Anyway, where is that? And finally, the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire and Live with Regis and Kathy Lee host died a Friday of natural causes. His family confirmed in a statement today, and of course, talking about Regis Philbin, by his representative Louis K. "We are deeply saddened to share that our beloved Regis Philbin has passed away of natural causes 1 month shy of his 89th birthday. His family wrote, remembering his warmth, his legendary sense of humor, and his singular ability to make every day into something worth talking about." Shortly after the news of Philbin's death, tributes broke out and poured in on Twitter and Instagram. Kathy Lee Gifford, his longtime co-host on Live with Regis and Kathy Lee, offered a simple but fitting tribute. "Regis, there will never be another. Rest in peace, Reg. You will be missed." And that was Xander's news of the day. If you want to come and share your news of the day about headlines that are kind of a little bit concerning or not right, or you just want to get on your soapbox, you can go to xandergibb.com. That's xandergibb.com/contact. I'm out of breath now. It has been one of those days today, and my allergies are like kind of driving me through the roof. And I need a drink. We got time for a couple of calls, though. You can call us on 845-363-4747 if you're in the United States. And if you're in the UK, you can call us on 0208-133-5274. That's 0208-133-5274. If you're in the United Kingdom, but if you're in the United States, you can call us on 845-363-4747. Chet says if President Trump went to the memorial, they'd piss and moan that he went to. Yeah, I remember when Daddy Bush had his funeral and he sent Melania, the First Lady, along to represent him. I remember how they shunned her and treated her. There is no respect anymore, and there's no respect for the president's office. But, we were expected to bow our asses down to, Gay Barry, for the 8 years that he was there. And we did show him respect, even though we disagreed. Well, most of us did. And ultimately, what good did it do us? We were still all racist, even though, my partner at the time, especially at least for the last 4 years of the Obama administration, was a black person. So that's how racist I am. When I lived in NYC, I lived with a black person who was my partner. So that's how racist I am. What do you think about any of these topics or you want to share something else that's kind of caught your eye today in the news, you can call us on 845-363-4747 if you're in the United States. But if you are in the United Kingdom, mate, you can call us on 0208-133-5274. That's 0208-133-5274. I wish someone would make a really good antihistamine so that I don't have to keep taking all these pills that are half chalk and half something else and half cocaine. No, that's something else. No, that's a story for a different show. Evie says, why must you get a virus test if you don't feel sick? I think it's to access the benefits of paying the insurance. But, that's kind of an interesting situation. Would you pay COVID-19 insurance? I don't think I would. We have our first caller of the day. Welcome to the Xander Gibb Show. You are live, so keep it clean. What's your name and where are you calling from? Chat.
Xander, do you ever feel that it's just a bad movie and we're in the middle of watching it?
Yes.
Lately, it's looked like that with all this chaos that's going on throughout the country. It's just really disturbing. A few of the videos that I watched today, where you can actually tell that the cameraman that's filming is a professional. There's no doubt about it. And what they're filming in Portland right now is only to make the police look bad. And they keep throwing the word out, oh, the veterans are there to stick up for the protesters.
Oh,
the veterans, where they got a Marine out there screaming, supposedly with a mask on. I'll tell you one thing. My grandfather was a Marine. Marines didn't wear masks unless they were in battle, and there was a reason for it. Otherwise, a Marine doesn't hide his face.
Exactly. Well, they've also said that these latest protests in New York, that they're anti-police and all of this, and the police are to blame, and they're in support of those poor protesters that have been hurt in Portland. But here's the thing for me. If you go out to protest, in parentheses, and you go out there and you're throwing bricks at the police and you're attacking the police and you get hurt in the process, how can you blame anyone but yourself?
Yeah, you can, and you can also blame the Democrat Party when they bring in pallets of bricks and they hand out baseball bats.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me the way the mainstream media can just totally divert from what's actually going on, especially when it comes to the minority community, which the real voices in the community are never heard. You only hear the people screaming the loudest, and if they're screaming against violence in their community that's not involved with the police or with President Trump or any of these other situations you can find yourself in, that they just don't pay attention to it.
No.
And let's be honest, most of the violence in the inner city and in the minority community is committed by people in the inner city and from the minority communities. And it's obvious as the nose on your face that that's what's happening here. They cover it, but they cover it up.
But it's not being discouraged, and that's what concerns me, because mayors of like the woman in Minnesota, Gretchen Hitler, she's turned a blind eye and let people destroy their cities, and now wants the federal government to pay for it. And I kind of predicted that this was going to happen, and quite rightly, President Donald Trump has said, no way, you're not getting another penny. Because, most of these places were in financial problems before COVID. So you can't blame any of this on COVID or the rioting. This is just an excuse to get more money. When you think about New York, our home state, the governor of New York has allowed the COVID-19 numbers to be escalated, because everyone that goes into hospital with COVID-19, they get to claim money from the government for that. And so it is all about money.
Look at what he's gotten away with. Look at what he's done.
Exactly. But who's doing anything about it? I know the president's got bigger fish to fry at the moment, so I'm not blaming him. But I think after this election is over, he has to be called to task. He has to be removed from office because you can't have that much blood on your hands and continue running a state. I say running, but running kind of like so badly.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's running it like the mob would, and that's a whole nother discussion with him because he, actually has ties to the mob. That you could spend a whole show on that, but the fact of the matter is there is a pushback out there. There are counter protests. There are people that are protesting in favor of the police. There are groups like the Proud Boys pushing back. The media doesn't show it. You know why? Because more so than showing who we really are and how we are patriotic, they don't want to show that we have a spine.
No.
Because once they show that, we start to get the idea of knowing that the real way of combating these communists, these socialists, and these Marxists is to punch them in the nose, and as your guest last night said, kick them in the nuts.
Yeah, for sure. Let me ask you this, though, Chat. Do you think, November 3rd, everybody goes to vote, and Donald Trump wins? Do you think that all of this is going to be over and done with? Because I think the majority of it was in order to kind of put the president in a bad light. Hi to Dave, Goats Lives Matter. Do you think that this is going to end on November 4th, or do you think they're going to continue with this tirade of trying to get him out of office for another 4 years, rather than working together and making America great? Because, Dr. Lamiro has already said, come March or April, the Democratic Party is done. It's over.
Yeah, I agree with the doctor, and he's a great guest, pro-Trump all the way.
Yeah,
and I love when you have him on. The thing is this going to end? No, it's not going to end. But once President Trump is put in for that second term, he'll be able to go into these cities with his force and just put it. You got to squash this. Listen, in Portland now, we're going on 2 months. We are going on 2 months. It has to end. Don't worry about what all the leftists say. They are all in. They want to put it on the back of the president and his supporters that were, a lot of the flag words, racist, were Nazis, were Klansmen. Eventually, we're just going to have to say, you know what, call me what you want to call me. We got to straighten this thing out. And if you're going to come at us, we're going to come at you twice as hard.
Right.
There's more of us.
Did you see, I don't know if I told you about this, but they even asked for, there's a whiskey, like a Scottish whiskey called Klansman with a C. Now, in Scotland, the clan means the family that you're from. They even tried to ban that a couple of years ago because it was called Klansman. I mean, it's nothing to do with racism. In Scotland, clans are families, like the tartan and all of that. They're based upon clans. So they even wanted to ban the name of a whiskey because they said it was, these silly liberal leftists. And it's just become so tedious, Chad. It's become so boring.
It makes sense though, right? I mean, when they're saying that, using the proper grammar, if you're using proper grammar, you're a racist. I know you saw that one. So if they interpret Klansmen with the C as the KKK, which is absolutely the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life, then it's racist because, you know what? They're just not good at that grammar stuff, Xander.
No.
I mean, how can any leftist in these universities say that and honestly say, I'm just telling it like it is? It's not that I'm racist. No. You think they're too stupid to use proper grammar. That's what you're saying.
Exactly. And it becomes so frustrating because we should all be questioning things, whichever side of the aisle you're on, whoever you support, we should be questioning everything that's put our way. But the left seem to accept everything that they read piecemeal. Donald Trump isn't racist. Donald Trump is homophobic. Donald Trump is anti-disabled, and I'm bored with it. And frankly, I love doing this show. But I'm tired of the hate that I get for actually just kind of trying to make a difference. Because to me, this is what all Americans should be doing, both sides of the aisle, trying to make a difference. Because if you're not making a difference, haven't you just given up? If you're just happy
Yeah.
to accept what your party spews to you, you've given up, surely.
Well, I used to deal with people like that. One of the guys that I used to do a show with before TV joined the team would always tell me, if my side of the street's clean, I'm good. It's not a good way to live.
No.
It shows a lack of compassion. It shows a lack of morality. It shows a lack of tenacity. It shows a lack of patriotism. I know you're going to be talking about Bill Barr, so I'm not going to get big into it. But
Not
look at
actually.
the way they treated him
Not
today.
actually.
He couldn't answer anybody.
Right. We're not actually going to be talking about Bill Barr with Tony. So go for your life, buddy.
No, I'm just saying they step on you until they can't step on you anymore.
Right.
And at some point you've got to push back. And I think what you do and what we do and what a lot of these shows that mostly are very grassrootsy do is we know that we need to do more, but we need help. That's
We do.
the thing.
We do.
That's what frustrates me is we have the numbers. We outnumber them by a long shot. But everybody's busy with their life. I get it. You got to work. You got to provide. But at some point, you're going to have to join and get rid of this mob mentality, what we have going on with Antifa and the Democrat Party. Let's just call Antifa and Black Lives Matter the Democrat Party.
Yeah. Well, they are just extensions. Because let's face it, Black Lives Matter is all of the money they get is going between those two Marxist bitches that started it and the Democrats. Because you can't tell me they're not getting paid for that.
Oh yeah.
I don't doubt
Yeah.
that George Floyd's family are rich as a result of his death. Because the Democrats will have utilized that. They'll all have new houses. They'll all have new cars. I guarantee it. Because that's the way their media machine works. And the concern is it's about right and wrong. It's not actually about anything more than that. Did you see the thing that Julio Rivera shared today on
Yes,
Facebook?
I was about to mention that. Yeah, I don't know if it was Occupy Democrats, but it was one of those way left sites comparing Floyd to Jesus.
Yeah. Because Jesus.
Come on. Well, first
Jesus.
of all, do
Go
the
on.
leftists really believe in Jesus or God? I don't think so.
No. But did Jesus ever hold a pregnant woman to gunpoint? I don't remember reading that
Right.
in Matthew or any of the
Right.
Gospels. Did Jesus ever get so high on crack that he couldn't breathe or whatever it was that Floyd was taking? And I have to, don't write in because really you can write to, Xander Gibb at idon'tgiveashit.com. But he should not have ended up dead. But I think that part of it was his own fault. Because if you're that high on drugs that you can't breathe, the chances are that you might die anyway.
The other part of it is if you want to blame anybody, blame Amy Klobuchar. She was the one at the head of that union that put aside 19 prior complaints about that officer.
Yeah.
So as much as you want to come down on President Trump, the police, and his followers, and those that support him, there was a Democrat in office that you elected that kept that man on that police force that ended up killing George Floyd. And you're right, George Floyd was not a good guy.
No.
He wasn't a great guy. Did he deserve to die? Listen, no. But, I don't know whether he was turning his life around. Somebody had mentioned that he was.
Right.
Maybe he was.
Good for
I don't
him.
know. But he was high on drugs. He was also doing drugs. That just shows me that he had some issues.
Yeah, of course. But, the thing is at the end of the day, and we would, I won't speak for you. I'm just going to say this and you can agree or disagree. I don't want any cop on the force that is using his position and using excessive force and people ending up dead. Because that could be one of your kids in the future. God forbid.
Sure.
It could be one of my family, one of my cousins, anybody. So we don't want any cops on the force that are like that. But let me give you an example. No. If you go to Mickey D's and the guy is rude to you, And do you say, I'm never going to McDonald's again because everybody that works there is rude? Or do you accept that just sometimes some employees are not the best example for the company they represent? But can't that be the same with cops? Because as far as I'm concerned, that's what that was. I don't think that was racist. Bullshit. The guy never called him the N-word. The guy didn't say, hey, black guy, you're under arrest. He looked dodgy. He was off his face on something and should have been arrested regardless of the color of his skin. But to turn that into a race issue is exactly what the left does. Sorry, I'm just laughing at CV. CV put some really funny stuff. He says, I'm not working right now. I have a KEG sign in my car's back window, and cars constantly muscle past me. Other drivers shake their heads at me and stuff. I mean, wow. Well, I saw someone share. Was it you that shared? I don't know. Someone shared in my group in the Conservatives for Freedom of Speech that they've been going around at one of these rallies and putting "Keeping America Great" stickers on the protesters' cars, so they were all smashing up each other's cars. I love it.
That's pretty great. That's pretty good.
I love it.
Sometimes it's so insane you gotta laugh.
Yeah.
And you make a great point. Of course, we don't want crooked cops on the force, but listen, there's always going to be a few. I'm sorry, folks.
Yeah.
It's just the way life is. You're gonna meet bad dentists, bad doctors, bad lawyers. You're gonna meet bad garbage truck delivery guys. It's human nature. But the other thing we don't want to do, Xander, is handcuff our police so they can't do their job properly. Is over in Portland where they were trying to take pepper spray from the cops. What do you want them to defend themselves
But this is exactly what has happened. They have changed the police in such a bad way that they cannot enforce law and order. And then they have the audacity to say remove the police. So they've said, don't do your job, but as you're not doing your job, we don't want you. We want to send social workers in instead to do that. And the disgusting thing for me, as someone that supports the police, because if you notice, the people that don't support the police are the ones that have something to fear from them. Now, I have nothing to fear apart from my marijuana farm in my garage. Oh shit! Did I say that on air? But seriously, those of us that don't have anything to, you watch the FBI will be banging down my door tomorrow now. If you don't have anything to fear from the police, why do you need to see them in those terms? Yeah, there are some bad cops. But you know, the other side of this, and I emphasize this all the time, I remember a case a few years ago. There was a little kid in the street, and he had a fake gun, and the orange or red cap that's supposed to be on the end to show that it's a toy gun had come off, and the boy ended up getting shot because he wouldn't put it down. Yeah, I remember. And that was absolutely terrible that little boy got killed. But here's the thing. We're sending human beings out there every day to make split-second decisions. Now, if you've got to make split-second decisions every day, you're going to get it wrong. You're going to get it wrong from time to time because you're human. I don't care what anyone says. If you're human, you're going to get it wrong. But here's the thing. I would rather have a police force in situ that gets it wrong occasionally. You know, God forbid that it's not very often, but no police force at all. Can you imagine no police force at all? Your house would be burglarized every other week.
No, because it wouldn't be no police force at all. It would be Fed police. It would be a police state.
Yeah.
Do these idiots actually think that the Democrats are going to just leave the streets wide open? Of course they're not. They won't be protected if that happens.
No.
Nancy Pelosi and the rest of them, they want to make a police state in the United States of America.
They do.
And the people out there screaming about this are fucking stupid is the bottom line. They are not thinking with their heads. They're thinking with their asses. And it's as simple as that, Xander.
Absolutely. If you have just joined us, you are listening to, I'm watching the Xander Gibb Show with me, Xander Gibb, and my good buddy, Chet Martin. I keep wanting to call you Stevie Burton. I don't know why. It's my Mets.
You do that to me in TV a lot.
I'm blaming my Mets. Well, you are one and the same, aren't you? Aren't you co-joined twins or something in real life.
It's all a big conspiracy. I just, I do see V's voice and he does mine.
Yeah. Well, when you both go into that angry guy mode and you go like this and you're talking like this, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, why do you think I've been yelling the last few weeks? This is really CV.
Yeah, I believe it.
Here's the thing, Xander. What we need to do is, really support the police right now because they are still out there. If you see a cop, thank them. A thank you goes a long way with somebody that's putting his life on the line every day. And listen, sometimes some police officers aren't very great people, but the bottom line is the 90% of them are, and the 90% just want to get home to their wife and kids.
Exactly.
And Antifa and Black Lives Matter and the Democrat Party can hem and haw all they want. But these guys and gals deserve our respect.
They absolutely do. I can't wait to get home to my wife and kids every day. But when I get home here, they've disappeared for some reason. I think they must have gone back into Farmville. The only kind of cops I don't like are the rude, abusive ones. Like I won't mention names, but I used to work at a bar at NYC, and next to it there was a food joint. So we'd go in there during the day because the offices for the bar were kind of behind there. And I'll always, every lunchtime, these two big fat lesbian cops would be in there and they wouldn't get out of the way to let you go by. And you'd say, excuse me. And they would look at you something like, you'd wipe something off their shoe. And then they'd breathe in. Right. So you'd have to squeeze by these cops with guns, these big fat lesbian cops with guns. But I suppose that's a story for another day. But even them, I would
on the old shoulder there.
Yeah, exactly. I'd far rather have them than no police at all. I mean, hello, 911, what's your emergency? Oh, someone's burglarizing my house and they've got a gun. Well, we can send you a social worker in 3 to 5 days. How was that? I mean,
no,
really?
Forget it. Right? Yeah. Send me a plumber while you're at it. Maybe he's probably more equipped than the social worker.
Yeah,
he has a lug wrench.
We can send you a fat lesbian cop.
I would never have thought in my life, man, that this party, the Democrat Party, would go so far off the edge.
Well, it's
because
it's fascism, isn't it?
A lot of my family members were raised Democrat. They were, although my parents were Blue Dog Democrats, they voted for Ronald Reagan, and most of my family supports President Trump right now, and that's a great thing. I'm really happy that my sister came on over too, and people are waking up, but this party just doesn't represent America anymore. That's the bottom line, isn't it?
No. And they like to sell. I actually saw something on TikTok earlier that was saying, all Republicans are homophobic and anti-disabled, so do I hate myself?
Oh, God.
I hate the generalization because not all Democrats are bad. We have to emphasize that. Just 99.999% of them. I'm joking, of course. And not all cops are bad.
Not all are bad. Xander, they have to figure out that party is no longer the party of Kennedy. It's no longer even the party of Clinton.
No, it absolutely isn't.
Wake up. I don't know. Listen, what can I say? Wake the hell up.
But what do you think will wake them up? I actually thought with this COVID, even though it's a pandemic, I thought it would bring us all together. I mean, what has to happen? Does an asteroid have to hit America, or what has to happen for mankind in America to turn around and say, because the media gain from this divide, and so do the Democrats, and I think they're invested in it.
What has to happen, I've said it countless times with you, is we need to rid the universities, the public schools, the higher institutional learning facilities, rid them of all the freaking communists that are in there and filling our children with hate.
We do.
Despise this country, despise Trump, despise us. And once we do that, it would clear up. But unfortunately, Xander, it's so corrupted in a lot of these universities, they actually have Chinese spies.
Yeah, for sure.
That's how bad it's gotten.
For sure, even in the embassies. We do have to leave it there. I to Swoop, who just joined the live feed. Hello, my brother. Tell people where they can find you. I was lost for words then.
Well, listen, everybody out there, go to freedomondeck.com. You see about the show Xander's going to be on this weekend.
I am.
5 p.m. Eastern Time. And listen, if you can, go support us. Like us on Facebook. Check us out on all the other news feeds. And some of our videos are really fun, some great guests. And I'm just going to say this before I go, Xander. If anybody out there, if you have your kids in the public school systems, get them out.
Yeah.
If you can.
I thought you was going to say mind out for those fat, hairy lesbian cops in Manhattan, but we'll leave that for a different
I'm going to be thinking about that all night.
Anyway, moving swiftly on. Oh, God, what a thought. Imagine going to sleep thinking about that. Can you turn the light out, honey? Or do I have to read you your rights?
All right.
Okay,
bye.
buddy. Thanks
God
a lot.
bless.
Take care. That was, God bless you too, my brother. That was Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Make sure you check out the show Sundays 3 till 5. I will be on there this weekend. Not that it's the only reason to check it out when I'm on, but I'm sure it improves the show. I think this is my next guest, who is a political commentator, Tony Lusaco, calling us now from the United States of America. Welcome back to the show, Tony. How is the world with you? Thanks for joining us.
World is good. We might be getting some tropical weather here in Florida. We'll see.
Really? Didn't you have the tail end of a hurricane the other day or something?
Yeah, that was nothing. It barely rained here, but now they're talking about this tropical storm that's going towards Puerto Rico might be coming this way. We'll see.
Wow. I know people that are in Puerto Rico right now, for the sunshine, but I guess if a tropical storm comes, it ain't going to be that nice out there in Puerto Rico. So I want to jump right in. If I can get the teleprompter to work. So with presumptive Democratic Party nominee Joe Biden's prospects for the White House looking increasingly rosy, cough, cough, more Dems are finding themselves not rocking any boats, which is why they find it particular. God, the teleprompter, we really need to get a new system. I'm just going to go backwards. I apologize. Which is why some find it peculiar that sleepy, creepy Joe Biden appears to be increasingly considering one of the seemingly riskier picks for VP of his own. Susan Rice, a.k.a. Dirty Rice, a.k.a. the Butcher of Benghazi, who was National Security Advisor to Gay Barry, a.k.a. President Obama, who has become a major player. She's a deeply familiar figure for Biden, which is funny given the fact he doesn't know his own wife from his sister most days. Republicans maintain that few Democrats rile up the GOP base, and the Jews raising their fund numbers like Obama's former national security hand, and insist that they welcome Biden elevating her to the ticket. But will her record be a thorn in Biden's aching side, Tony?
I think she will make a wonderful vice president of the United States of America.
Really?
I'm being sarcastic, of course.
I thought I detected some sarcasm. Because let's face it, she's done some pretty shitty things, hasn't she?
Yes, it's funny because at first, I'm ashamed to say I had her confused with Condoleezza Rice. And when I first heard the name Rice, I was like, oh, really? Well, that's a nice, well, that's a sensible pick for a vice president.
Yeah, yes. I would love Condi to be the VP pick, but I think she's far too sensible for Joe Biden. No, she, that Rice, this Dirty Rice woman, was the one that was involved in Benghazi, along with Hillary Clinton, who left American citizens to die, be slaughtered. She helped to spy on President Donald Trump when he was a private citizen. I mean, the list is as long as your arm as of her misdemeanors. But I don't know. Isn't it risky to be even choosing her?
Yeah, I think that Ben, my reaction when I figured out who it was, oh my God, Benghazi.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember I was watching the talk shows, okay? And I was watching this woman go on TV and lie to the American people and do a cover-up. And they think people don't remember that. I think people will remember that, and I'm sure that if she is the vice presidential pick, Donald Trump is going to make sure people remember that.
Yeah, and quite right too.
It's really going to be a thorn in his side.
I mean, I agree, and I think that he should do that. I am not sure politically that people should be given a second chance, especially when they've left Americans to die. I mean, that kind of worries me. You know, they requested help and they didn't send anyone in because they didn't feel that it was appropriate to do so, which is kind of a worry for me. I mean, what about all this not one left behind ideology?
I just don't understand what all this talk about the vice presidential races and how it's so complicated. I mean, all he's got just look at Hollywood. You have Cher to pick. You have Oprah. I mean, come on. All you got to do is pick a Hollywood celebrity. I mean, he's got his pick of perfectly fitting vice presidential picks. He could pick anyone, Hollywood actress. There you go.
Maybe it's because Rice wears wigs, because, you know, he is a bit of a hair sniffer, which is going to be a problem if he wins, because anyone that comes to the White House, he's going to be playing Guess the Shampoo. No, it's not Vosine. No, I'm not sure what it is. Can I just have another sniff to be sure? I mean, it doesn't bear thinking about that he's running. And if this is the best that they have, you know, a dementing pedophile who sniffs people's hair, isn't it a worry, to say the least?
Well, I take a little bit of a different perspective. I like Joe Biden, but let's face it, he's old. And he's got some... you really have to look at who he's picking for vice president should something happen to him. And that woman, I do not think is the appropriate good pick.
No.
I don't think that any of the people, for that matter, in the running, because it's affirmative action, inaction, you know, are
right.
Good vice presidential picks. There are a lot of strong candidates that if Joe Biden did get elected, you know, that could carry on and be a good vice president of the United States.
Right.
But I don't really see that in his picks, and that's going to be a real thorn in his side because whether we go back to Trump, Obama, everybody wants to know who's the next in line.
Right.
That was Trump's Achilles heel, if you remember, and that's why he picked Pence.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not experienced. I'm going to pick a guy that's experienced that knows what he's doing.
Right.
You know?
I think the worry is, though, the clear reason that Joe Biden wants someone who's black is so that he can play down his racism from the last 40 years. I mean, there are numerous examples of him calling black people Negroes on video. You know, as well as that, recently he was on some hip show where the host was black, and he said, you know, basically, if you're voting for Donald Trump, then you ain't black. I think if you're picking a VP based on the color of their skin rather than their experience, that's a worry, isn't it?
It's a worry, yes, but I'm going to defend him on past racism, and here's why. It goes back to this liberal hysteria. Like, let's talk about with the judges, where you're going back 20, 30 years, finding something they said and saying they're a sexual harasser or a predator or this or that. We really cannot judge people based on 30, 40 years ago and the times they were living in. Okay? Standard society changes. You know, people's opinions evolve over time.
They do. But
there's a lot of people right now, you know, that support the LGBT community, whereas if you go back 20, 30 years ago, you wouldn't have heard that from them. People's views change as they grow and they mature, and society does it.
Agreed. But Joe Biden's opinion on race on race has not changed in the last 40 years. He spent his career trying to push black people down, not just from 30 years ago, but from 20 years ago, even 15 years ago. And it only started to change when he became VP. But when people tell you who you are, who they are, you have to listen. And the thing is, for me, if he's spent his career trying to put black people underfoot, what does that say about who he is? Yeah, we all have the propensity to change, but there's still doubt in my mind about how he feels about black people if he can still, in 2020, refer to black people as Negroes, because I find that offensive. Not that I'm a black person, you know, I just wear a lot of tan, but still it's offensive to refer to black people as Negroes.
Well, Joe Biden is a Democrat. Joe Biden
And?
is a Democrat.
And?
Well,
Is that an excuse for racism?
The Democratic Party has always at heart been racist, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. Because who freed the slaves?
And this is the thing. Just like Planned Parenthood, from its founding, has been a Nazi party.
Yeah.
They were based on eugenics. They were based on the idea that we're going to stop minorities from having babies, the inferior races. That's how Planned Parenthood was.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
That's the basis of Planned Parenthood. Well, the basis of the Democratic Party, I mean, we're going back with Lyndon Johnson, where he said he would have all them ends voting for them for the next 100 years or whatever.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
This was the founder of the Great Society. They didn't do this. They have a superiority complex.
Yeah.
Give us your vote. Let us think for you. Let us guide you. You poor, inferior people.
Yeah.
Whereas the Republican line is pull yourself up by the bootstraps, do it yourself.
Exactly.
And I don't get how minorities do not. Actually, let me rephrase that. There's a lot of minorities waking up to that fact now in the United States,
Good.
thank God, who are very conservative, actually, and are saying, no, thank you, we'll do our own thinking.
Yeah, exactly. And another example is like Hillary Clinton talking about black people and saying there were super predators who needed to be brought to heel. There are numerous examples of racism on the left. And I don't think we can accept it from anybody or any party in 2020. We even need to choose our language that we use wisely enough not to be offensive. I saw a Democrat last year referring to someone who was gay as a fag. And you know, I'm gay, you're gay, but we wouldn't refer to people professionally as fags, would we?
As what?
Fags.
No, definitely not.
You know, because it's offensive. We need to choose our language wisely enough. And not only do we need to choose our VPs wisely enough, but we need to choose our presidents wisely enough. You know, say what you like about Donald Trump. I know he's not always your favorite person, but in his tenure, in the 3.5 years that he's been the president, he's done more for black people than the Democrats have done in 40 years. The First Step program was pioneering, you know, lowest black unemployment ever pre-COVID. And I think that really does say a lot about his commitment to the black community.
Well, I mean, Donald Trump has done a lot. What I like about him, actually, is that he actually tries to do something. He takes action.
Right, exactly.
By executive order. And you can say all you want, and I actually agree with that criticism. Well, he's a hypocrite. He was on TV in the election, you know, criticizing Obama's executive orders, and now he's run by that. But once again, that's a reasonable thing. Yes, he wasn't president of the United States, so he was looking from the outside in saying, why is this guy doing all these executive orders? Well, he became president, and he realized Congress is a bunch of idiots that do nothing.
Right.
He had to do the same thing, basically.
Well, but
you don't know until you sit behind the desk.
You don't, but to a far lesser degree, you know, when you look at Barack Obama's record on executive orders, he actually, in his 8 years, you know, his whole tenure did, like, I think it was 4 or 5 times as many as Trump had done in his first 4 years of administration. So it's like comparing apples to flip-flops, really. We have to move on because we are time-bound. I just want to talk a little bit about this final topic because it kind of tickled me. So the Democratic National Committee delegates voted 105 to 60 against including marijuana legalization in the party platform this week. The draft version of the platform supports decriminalizing marijuana use and legalizing medical marijuana, adding that it should be left up to the states to make their own decisions about recreational use. Now, the platform was unlikely to ever endorse full legalization since Joe Biden, the presumptive nominee, does not back the policy. He supports federal decriminalization, which would take away incarceration for possession. But Dennis Obdusky, a delegate who introduced the legal amendment during the meeting of the DNC's platform committee, noted that the current document is a step back from the 2016 platform that supported providing a reasonable pathway for future legalization. Do something here, Stacey Walker said. Take one small but meaning step towards changing the course of history. If my Black Lives Matter, you will consider this amendment. We want to get it in good trouble today, and I urge you to do the right thing, man. Support it. Have the Dems now lost the stoner vote? And do you have a light for this doobie, Tony?
I'm sorry, you broke up. What was the last part of your question?
Do you have a light for this doobie?
Oh, well, they've lost my vote. That's all I got to say. They have categorically lost my vote. But, it strikes on a really deeper issue, and it is the issue of freedom.
Yeah.
Okay? Freedom. Okay? We are supposed to be about freedom. I, to this day, resent seatbelt laws. Okay?
What laws?
That's my body. My choice.
What
freedom.
Laws? Wait.
Marijuana.
Wait, you said...
It's not... Who are you harming?
What laws do you resent? Because I didn't get it.
A seatbelt, and this is the...
seatbelt, right.
This goes back to what liberals are.
Right.
This is what liberals are. They try to think for you. They have this great idea that they think will work for everybody, therefore they want to force everybody to do it because they know better than everybody else.
Right.
And that's where a seatbelt should be my choice. That is whether to smoke marijuana, that's even prostitution in a way. And I don't want to get into a human trafficking debate, that's a whole separate issue or anything. Right. But we have criminalized so many things in this country that are individual choices. And now, what Black Lives Matter and her Black life has to do with that, I don't know.
No, I think she was stoned when she said it.
The courage to actually put that platform forward and say, we're for freedom. We want people to make individual choices.
Right. This is the true libertarian in you coming out now. But my only issue with marijuana, I think like cigarettes and alcohol, it should kind of have an age limit with it. Not that I'm advocating it be legalized, because I know from personal experience, and I've written about this, and I've been totally honest about it, is that it is a gateway drug, and I would never have tried cocaine if it hadn't have been for marijuana. But there are some people that will smoke marijuana like 24/7 and wouldn't harm a fly. It's a lot less dangerous than alcohol, but they are seeing now the issues of what TCT does to the brain. Not TCT, THC does to the brain. So there are long-term risks to that. But I guess as a libertarian, you would say it's your choice to make that risk if you're prepared to do that.
It's your choice as long as you're harming no one. And see, here's the thing with the progressive agenda and the mentality, okay? And progressive means communist. Kid yourself not.
Yeah, of course.
Progressive is communist, okay?
We agree on that.
Here is the agenda behind the progressive thought. Watch out for this word, the greater good.
Yeah.
And you should. The greater good, and you should. Okay? Individual lives do not matter. People do not matter. Circumstances do not matter. It's whatever the collective think tank thinks is best. A one-size approach fits all, and restrict and get rid of people's freedom for the greater good. Oh, you should agree to this because. I mean,
yeah.
That is what is behind all of these thoughts and all of these ideas, and that, in the end, is what will destroy America. God's great. People ask me, well, how can you be a Christian and a libertarian or whatever? Because God's first gift to humanity was freedom.
Yeah.
The individual choice.
Yeah.
Okay?
Well,
everybody, it's not that I'm for marijuana. I don't want anybody to think I'm for drugs necessarily.
No.
I'm for an individual's right to make their own moral choices and judgment as long as they are not harming others, free of government interference and free of regulation. Now, here's the last thing you got to watch out for with the progressive liberals. You have to ask yourself, where does it end? Where does it stop?
Right.
See, they'll pass some law, some rule, some new thing. Okay, let's look at the unemployment benefit. You know, the $600 on top that made people not work. They passed something that seems good at the time, okay? But it doesn't end there.
No.
It never ends there.
No.
What are we going to make illegal next? What are we going to stop people from doing next?
Absolutely.
What are we going to force people into next?
That
is what the liberalism is about.
Absolutely. We got to leave it there. And I get that you're a liberal and you're a libertarian and you are for small government. And I agree with that 200%. But what does need to end right now is the show because we're out of time. But Tony, tell people where they can find you and find more about you and what you're doing.
You can find me on Facebook for now. I'll have Twitter up soon. It's The Center. The Center on Facebook, and you can find political, religious, and social commentary on that page.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining us today, Tony Lasacco. Make sure you go check him out on social media. Thanks a lot, Tony. Give our love to Kiko, and have a great week.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Take care. That was Tony Lasacco. Make sure you go check him out. We are done. We are out. Thanks to everybody who's made today's show possible. Thanks to my good buddy Chet Martin from Freedom on Deck. Make sure you go check them out. I will be on the show this weekend. And thanks to Tony Lasacco from The Center. Not had your fill of the Gibster. You can find me 5 nights a week, 5 Pacific, 7 Central, 6 Eastern, and 8 in the... 5 Pacific, 7 Central, 8 Eastern, 1 a.m. in the UK, and 10 a.m. the next day in Australia. Be sure to join us tomorrow for more scintillating chat when Mark Sutherland joins us. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. I've been Xander Gibb. Thanks to everyone in the live feed. I really do love you all. Bye-bye.
It has been good to me this time around. Things were the other bound to change when it was found. Sugar never tasted sweeter on my lips. My heart is now intact and I can find no rest. This is love, yeah, love. Never known true love before. Seen so many counterfeits that left me on the floor. This is love, yeah, love. All will come to those who wait. Time it cannot know the bounds, and eras don't dictate.
Click the bell button and subscribe to keep up with the Xander Gibb Show.